we got to move on to the longest running segment on Washington Football Weekly. Like it, love it, or
hated it.
Yes, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know this, where we put up a couple topics and we give our opinion. Either we like it, or maybe we really love it, or we're like, what in the hated it. So, starting off with this, and Will, I'm going to come to you first. Like it, love it, or hate it, journalist Mike Silver, the old the NFL Network journalist, ESPN announcer, commentator, journalist, was hired by the Washington Football Team. Will, talk to us. How you feel about this?
I think I like this. I mean, obviously, it's not going to affect anything on the actual football side of things, but he's got a background with Sports Illustrated, with NFL Network. He's a national reporter. I think what I see with this is, for so many years, national reporters, all they do is dog us, and they find anything to make fun of us about. And here we got a national reporter who says, I want to join that team. I want to be a part of that. I think that speaks some volumes of it. He's got a really strong relationship with Ron Rivera. They're very, very close. And so obviously that played a big factor into it. But it sort of, to me, seems like maybe other people, maybe, the national folks are taking notice as to where we're going. And not just on the football side, but on the other business side of things. And maybe that means that we're more of a franchise that they want to be associated with. I think it's kind of interesting because he's going to work for us, but I still believe he's going to have his segments with NFL Network. He's going to try and produce some content, some stories with players. I think he's going to be on the sidelines for preseason, so it's going to be kind of something interesting to see. But like I said, I don't think there's anything negative about it. I don't know how much of an effect he's really going to have. But again, it's more like, could the tide be changing on feelings of our franchise?
That's a good point, because I think one thing it shows is that a culture is changing. I think, and Ron started with him coming in and everything he's been through and kind of how his whole persona is. And if I'm not mistaken, Will, this guy, Mike Silver, is close with Ron Rivera. Yeah. Very. So that will be a huge benefit for us. I know I was reading he's going to be on the podcast immediately for Washington Football Team. He's going to be starting to get involved in it. I've seen him a bunch on NFL Network. I've seen him on all those, and I'm glad he's going to keep that role. But I think this is great. I think this is. I like this. I'm leaning towards loving it. When you have people want to come and be a part of you instead of running for the hills, which is what we've had recently. Like, I like this. Let's start. We've been adding good people. Let's continue to add good people. So hopefully this is a bit beneficial to us. Abs, think, man.
It's one of those things that I don't care. It's like, to me, if I'm being myself, and if I'm really thinking on how this is going, I have a theory.
Okay.
This is literally just kind of like crowd control. This is like he's a media guy, and he's basically got hired to do the same thing as Julie Donaldson is, and basically that's to shine good light upon us. And to me is, because I mean, when you showed me, like, I didn't know who this guy was at the beginning, but now that you showed me a picture of him, like, the guy is legit. The guy, he's like respectable. He's almost there with Adam Schefter in like reports, and just like, he's just a legit guy. But to me, this is literally just something to sorry.
Yeah.
You were starting to throw up.
I was like, oh snap.
This is literally just something to control the noise that's being put out.
I was just thinking, control the narrative as you talked about it.
Yeah, and so to me, like, you get a legit person, get them on our side, and get them under our payroll, and now this is like he is one of our people to get just the right message out.
Right.
And for the next few years, this is what we have to do. And this is a smart play. I like it for that reason. But to me, this is not that important as far as our team, as our players. But honestly, the message, the culture, and everything like that, the overall, this is great for our team just to get the right message out.
Oh yeah, most
Hey,
definitely.
Sean,
Again,
let me take a guess here. The one who says that we're getting a lot of hype is Jack, isn't it?
oh yeah.
He's such a Debbie Downer.
What?
Jack said, "Hey, Washington football team's getting a lot of hype this year for the press. Makes me nervous."
He's such a Debbie Downer.
He said, "I don't want any attention."
He never has any hope in any of the sports teams. He just waits for them to let him down.
All right, hold up. We got Nathan Snell. Oh, Ab, drink some water. Uh-oh.
Here it is.
No, there we go.
Close enough.
Oh, man. Oh, all right. I agree with everything Abdul just said. Okay.
Listeners like it.
And that was a quick scare. Hello, Anton. What's going on, Mr. World Sport?
Hope all is well with your girl.
Right. Definitely. Give us updates. Let us make sure everything is cool. All right, moving on from this. And Ab, I'm gonna come to you first. We've addressed this. We've addressed it time and time again, and I'm not happy about how this looks. Washington football team is listed as one of the 4 teams having less than 50% COVID vaccinations. Ab, talk to me, man. Come on, man. What is this?
All right. Granted, everyone has their opinions. Granted, everyone has their views on taking shots. It's your choice right now. It's your choice. Right now, it's your choice to get vaccinated. Okay. Mm-hmm. And people are taking their God-given constitutional right to choose or be dumbasses, wherever you want to be, on getting your shots. But as far as being on an organization level, you know what I'm saying? I've already brought this up to you guys, and honestly, it takes one person to eliminate a group of positional players, and this is all I can think about when I see this. And I've said this before in past shows that, and especially on our defensive end. In our defensive end group is very thin. Past Chase Young, past Sweat. Who do we have after them? You know what I'm saying? And our defensive line is basically anchored on them. And what if who was it? Montez Sweat that was against getting a shot?
Yeah.
He takes out the whole defensive end group. And honestly, if you're saying that will never happen, it happened last year, y'all. It happened in Denver, Colorado.
Denver Broncos.
And it took out the whole quarterback room. They had a fool that was a wide receiver. I want to say he was like 7th round too, bro. A 7th round wide receiver playing quarterback.
Yes, Mr. Hinton. Yes, sir.
And so don't say it can't happen, because honestly, it takes one player to eliminate a whole positional group. And to me, I think that is just too, especially with so it's too easy for that to happen. And it's too easy to mess up a game plan. It's too easy to mess up the motivation going in on Sunday, Thursday, Monday. This is bad, guys. This is really, really bad. And I'm like, this isn't to shit on anybody that about what your choices are and everything like that. But I think you gotta actually look and be like, I can affect my whole team by what my choice is. And honestly, I pray that it doesn't happen. I don't wish it on anybody, but this is it's not a good look. It's a bad look. I do not like I do not like this. I hate this, Sean.
Mhm.
And I'm praying it doesn't eliminate us because essentially I think this could probably take us out of contention because
Right.
every year,
Right.
the NFC East is always got like it's always a battle
Yeah.
for our division. So this could take us out of contention, guys.
I think you're absolutely right. I think we are that team where we have things working for us. We have everything going in the right direction, but it could be something like this. You look at the Ravens last year, barely ended up making the playoffs halfway through the year, half their team was out. The Titans, half their squad was out because of this nonsense. Guys, there's a Delta variant that's out. You stay educated on this stuff. You need to keep you protected, but also those around you. I agree with you, Ab. I 100% hate this because this is ridiculous. The fact that there's only 4 teams that have less than 50%, and we're one of these four. It's like all this positive news we're hearing is just covering up this type of BS. Like, come on, guys. Like, get it together, because that's all. You're absolutely right. And let's not even talk about just defensive end. We don't know who has it, who doesn't have it. But what if it hits our quarterback room? You don't have to go too far into that to depth chart to really be having issues. You know what I mean? We're all hopeful on Heineke if he ever has to get in, God forbid. But then after that, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Montez and Kyle Allen, like, come on now. So we guys, we gotta pay attention. It's got to be for other people, man. We gotta focus, and it's part of that team thing. But Will, what do you think about this, man?
I mean, I think the NFL has made it very clear that those players and teams that have high vaccination rates are going to have a competitive advantage out there. And we talk about whether it hits one of our star players or what if it hits someone lesser known, but it's one of your star players who is unvaccinated. There is a difference in the level of testing and contract tracing
Mm-hmm.
that they are going to put into place. And where if you've been vaccinated, you have a much better chance of coming back on the field versus if you have not been vaccinated. And whether you keep testing negative day after day after day, come game day, they may still say, nope, we can't take the risk because maybe at 10 o'clock you don't, but at 4 o'clock when the game's over, you could test positive. We are not going to let you be out there.
Right.
So it's a major disadvantage if you have not been vaccinated. And I think back to what we're at right now. The world's about to watch the Olympics. And some of the concerns that athletes had was I didn't want this to affect my training.
Yeah.
Hearing that people, may be out a day or two, they were not willing to do it. Well, we're like 2 weeks away from training camp.
Yeah.
And you're going to have 2 weeks before you take your second shot. So we're at that point of the NFL offseason where this is it. It's you're getting into your season. And there's no way they're going to want people to be taking vaccines at training camp or during preseason and getting away from practice because they need to be learning what they need to do. So this is a major concern that we're this close to the season started and we're at where we are. Very concerned.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head with the Olympics thing. We've just heard about people that have now missed out on being able to go because they tested positive. We've heard about there was a case, if I'm not mistaken, in Olympic Village, where something came about where somebody tested positive. Guys, this is serious, and it's starting to get to the place where we've documented on this show the NFL's protocols. If you don't have both of your shots, the NFL is very strict on keeping things essentially for you the way that they were. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not act like this can't work, guys. If we follow the rule, the NBA just finished their season. You saw what happened with them. WNBA is going on, Major League Baseball is going on. We can do it, but it's a two-way street. You gotta work. You guys gotta work with us, work with each other, so we can eradicate this thing, so we can get back to just being normal and out here and open. Come on, guys. Come on. So
real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, and we talked about it a few weeks ago. The difference between people that get their shots and people that don't get their shots. The privileges you get for having your shot as opposed to not having it.
Yeah.
So if we're under 50%, do you know that's a lot more babysitting we have to do for all these other players?
Right.
Because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, make sure that you don't leave your room after this time. That, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's, like, these are grown-ass men that we're going to sit here and have to babysit because they didn't get their shots. And them being grown, they're going to be like, man, you can't tell me what not to do. I mean, the law says that I can do whatever I want to do, regardless if I have the shot or not. And like, like, the only people that know I don't have a shot are you guys. And it's just, it's messy. It brings a whole bunch of, like, and we don't want a situation where guys are disobeying what the league rules are just because they want to go out of town or something like that. And I mean, we're talking about getting each other sick, but we're also not talking about the resources it's going to take to keep everybody that hasn't gotten their shots in line. That's a big issue too. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's like, nobody wants to babysit another grown-ass man.
What it is, man. What it is. Yo, shout out to Jack. Daily tests for the unvaccinated players. They're gonna force it to happen, man. We go. Come on, guys, get it together. Also,
the thing is, it's not like, oh yeah, I saw him. I knew he was saying that. Blind
over Will, yeah.
Whatever. Well, it's like there's a big difference though between last year and this year. You know, you could say, hey, listen, you know, these players weren't vaccinated last year, and there were a couple cases that really hurt teams, but the majority we got through a season. But that's totally changed with this year. You know, people are out and about, businesses are open, and so there is a greater chance if you're not vaccinated, especially with this variant that's going around right now, that you could get it, because we're not all sitting at home. Then they go to practice. Then they're sitting at home again. You know, restaurants are open. Your ability to be interacting with people and increase your risk is much higher this season than it was last year.
Yeah, absolutely right. So guys, let's go. Let's get this thing going, because I fear it will rear its ugly head coming close to the end of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to move on, and